Title: The Real Story of Amazon, From Garage to Global Giant. Hello, and welcome to today's English learning story. In this video, you will hear the real story of Amazon, one of the most famous companies in the world. We will explore how it started, how it grew, and how it changed the way people shop, read, and use technology. This story is written in clear and slow English, perfect for learners at intermediate and upper intermediate level, B1, B2. Listening to long stories like this will help you improve your vocabulary, comprehension, and everyday expressions. You will also hear many emotional words and real-life expressions, which will help you feel more confident when speaking English. So, sit back, relax, and enjoy the journey of how Amazon grew from a small idea in a garage to a global giant that changed the world. In the early 1990s, the internet was very new. Most people did not know much about it, and only a few families had a computer at home. The internet was slow, noisy, and not very attractive. But some people already saw the future. They believed the internet could change the way humans lived, worked, and bought things. One of these people was Jeff Bezos. Jeff was a young man from the United States. He had studied computer science and electrical engineering at Princeton University. After graduation, he worked on Wall Street, in the world of finance. He was very successful, and he earned a good salary. But Jeff was not fully satisfied. He wanted something more. He wanted to build something big, something important, something that could change the future. One day, in 1994, Jeff read a report. This report said that internet use was growing fast. Every year, the number of internet users was increasing by 2,300%. When Jeff saw this number, his heart beat faster. He immediately thought, this is an opportunity. This is the future. I must be part of this. Jeff began to think of ideas. He asked himself, what kind of business can I start on the internet? At that time, there were not many online businesses. Jeff wanted to sell something online. But what should it be? Clothes? Music? Food? He made a long list of possible products. He thought carefully about each one. Finally, he decided that books were the best option. Why books? There were many reasons. First, there were millions of books in the world, and no single physical store could keep them all. Second, books were easy to send by mail. Third, readers were everywhere, in every country, and many of them wanted quick access to books. Jeff felt excited. He believed that selling books online could become a great business. It would be easier for customers, cheaper for publishers, and better for authors. But there was one problem: Jeff had a safe and comfortable job in New York. If he left, he would lose a lot of money and security. He was newly married, and his wife, Mackenzie, also worked in the city. Was it wise to leave everything behind? Jeff made a plan. He went to his boss and explained the idea of selling books on the internet. His boss listened carefully. Then he said, Jeff, this sounds like a good idea, but it seems better for someone who does not already have a great job. It is a big risk. Jeff thought about these words for several days. He felt nervous, but also hopeful. Finally, he decided to follow his heart. He told himself, when I am 80 years old, I do not want to regret the things I never tried. I must try this now. So, Jeff quit his job. With his wife's support, he packed their belongings into a car and drove across the United States, from New York to Seattle. During the long journey, he sat in the passenger seat with his laptop and typed out his business plan. The car became his first office. When Jeff arrived in Seattle, he rented a small house. In the garage of that house, he set up a desk, a computer, and a telephone line. This simple garage became the birthplace of Amazon. At that time, the company had no name. Jeff spent weeks thinking about the right name. He wanted something unique and powerful. At first, he thought of names like Cadabra, but it sounded too much like cadaver, which means dead body. That would not be a good name for a new company. Finally, he chose the name Amazon. Why? Because the Amazon is the largest river in the world. Jeff wanted his bookstore to be the largest in the world. He liked the image of something huge, natural, and powerful. The name also began with the letter A, which meant it would appear early in alphabetical lists. So, Amazon was born. At first, it was just Jeff, his wife, and a few helpers working in a garage. They had simple desks made from wooden doors. They worked long hours, often late into the night. They packed books in boxes, taped them shut, and carried them to the post office. It was hard work, but they were excited. They believed they were building something new and important. The first website was very simple. It had a basic design with plain text and a small logo. Customers could search for books, place an order, and pay with a credit card. It did not look beautiful, but it worked. Jeff had one important rule: always focus on the customer. He wanted Amazon to be the most customer-friendly company in the world. He believed that if you take care of the customer, success will follow. In July 1995, Amazon.com officially launched. The first order came from a man in Seattle who bought a book about artificial intelligence. Jeff and his small team celebrated. They cheered and smiled, because their dream was becoming real. Orders began to grow. At first, just a few each day. Then dozens. Then hundreds. Every time someone placed an order, a little bell rang in the office. The team would stop what they were doing and look at the screen to see what book was sold. Soon, the bell was ringing too often, so they had to turn it off. Jeff was thrilled, but he was also realistic. He knew the journey would be long and difficult. There would be problems with money, technology, and competition. But he was ready to face them. He believed in his vision. And so, in a small garage in Seattle, with a tiny team and a big dream, the story of Amazon began. When Amazon officially launched in July 1995, it was called Earth's biggest bookstore. Of course, it was not the biggest yet, but Jeff Bezos believed it could be. He wanted customers to find more books on Amazon than in any physical bookstore in the world. At that time, big bookstores like Barnes & Noble and Borders sold thousands of books. They had tall shelves, friendly staff, and bright lights. People liked to walk inside, drink coffee, and read. But even the largest physical bookstore could not hold every book ever published. Amazon was different. It could list millions of books online, even if they were not in stock. Customers could order, and Amazon would get the book for them. This was a new idea, and it was exciting. In the beginning, Amazon's website looked very simple. There were no colorful pictures, no fancy designs, and no advertisements. It was just words and links on a white page. But it worked well. Customers could type the name of a book, see the details, and click to buy. The process was easy and fast. You placed an order, Amazon sent the request to a book distributor, the distributor sent the book to Amazon, and Amazon mailed it to you. It was not perfect, but it was convenient. Jeff Bezos and his small team worked day and night. They answered emails, packed boxes, and checked orders. They used their garage like a warehouse. Sometimes, the boxes were so many that Jeff and his team had to sit on the floor between piles of books. Jeff cared about every small detail. If a book arrived damaged, he wrote a personal apology. If a customer asked a question, he made sure they received a clear answer. He wanted every person who visited Amazon to feel respected. His dream was for Amazon to be the most customer-centered company in the world. One thing that made Amazon special was the customer reviews. In bookstores, you could read only what was printed on the cover, but on Amazon, customers could write their opinions about the book. Some people loved this idea, but others thought it was dangerous. Publishers worried that negative reviews would hurt sales. But Jeff believed honesty would build trust. If customers trusted Amazon, they would keep coming back. Another special feature was the personalized recommendation. Amazon's system could suggest books based on what customers had already bought. For example, if you ordered a science fiction book, Amazon might suggest another science fiction title. This made shopping fun and personal. Slowly, word spread. Newspapers began to write about the strange new online bookstore. People were curious. Could buying books on the internet really work? Some people doubted it. They thought customers would always prefer to touch books in a store before buying. But others were excited by the convenience. You could find rare books, out-of-print books, and international titles without leaving your home. Sales grew quickly. By September 1996, Amazon was already selling books in all 50 U.S. states and in more than 45 countries around the world. This was a huge achievement for such a small company. Jeff was happy, but he was also realistic. He knew Amazon was growing fast, but it was not yet making money. Every dollar the company earned was reinvested. They spent money on technology, on hiring more workers, and on improving the website. Some people worried about this. But Jeff always said, "It's still day one." What did he mean by day one? Jeff explained that for Amazon, it was always the beginning. The company must never act like it was old or safe. It must always think like a startup, full of energy and new ideas. If you think it's day two, you start to slow down, and then you die. In 1997, Amazon decided to do something very bold. It became a public company. That means it sold shares of the company to the public on the stock market. Many people laughed. They said Amazon was only a bookstore. How could it compete with giants like Barnes and Noble? They predicted it would fail. But Jeff believed in the future. When Amazon shares first appeared on the market, they were priced at $18. Investors were curious. Some bought shares, others stayed away. Over time, the value of Amazon shares went up and down, like a roller coaster. But Jeff kept telling his team to focus on customers, not on Wall Street. Amazon also started to face competition. Barnes and Noble, the big bookstore chain, launched its own website. They called it a superstore and said it would crush Amazon. Jeff did not panic. He continued to improve the website, add more books, and give customers better service. One famous story shows how serious Jeff was about growth. In the early days, Amazon had a meeting with Barnes and Noble. The big company offered to buy Amazon. They said, "Why fight us? Join us." Jeff refused. He said Amazon had a bigger dream, not just books, but everything. Still, there were many challenges. The internet was slow. Sometimes orders got delayed. Sometimes books were lost in the mail. Customers complained. But Amazon kept improving. Every problem was a lesson, every failure an opportunity. In those first years, Amazon was still small compared to today. But it had already built a reputation for trust, innovation, and customer care. People began to see that Amazon was not just another bookstore. It was something different. It was a vision of the future. By the end of the 1990s, Amazon was becoming famous all over the world. But the journey was only beginning. Soon, the company would face new dangers, new challenges, and new opportunities that would test its strength. Amazon had started as a dream in a garage. In just a few years, it had become the world's most popular online bookstore. But Jeff Bezos was not satisfied. He wanted more. He wanted Amazon to be the store for everything. And that dream would lead Amazon into its next great chapter. Amazon grew fast in the mid-1990s. Orders came from everywhere, and newspapers called it the future of shopping. But success did not mean life was easy. In fact, the early years were very hard. Amazon had to fight for survival. One of the biggest challenges was money. Every month, Amazon sold more and more books. But Jeff Bezos did not want to keep the profit. Instead, he reinvested the money back into the company. He spent it on building better technology, hiring new workers, and opening new warehouses. This meant Amazon was always short of cash. Many investors asked, when will Amazon finally make money? At the same time, competition was getting stronger. Big companies like Barnes and Noble and Borders had more money, more stores, and more experience. They also launched their own websites. Many people thought Amazon would soon disappear. In 1999, Jeff Bezos was even on the cover of Time magazine as Person of the Year. He looked confident, but behind the scenes, things were difficult. The world was entering the dot-com bubble. The dot-com bubble was a strange time. Many new internet companies appeared. They promised to change the world. Investors were excited. They put millions of dollars into these startups, even when the companies had no profit. For a while, the stock market went up and up. It looked like the internet would make everyone rich. Amazon was one of the stars of this time. Its stock price rose quickly, and people said it was unstoppable. But bubbles always burst. In the year 2000, the dot-com bubble collapsed. Many internet companies went bankrupt overnight. Their offices closed, and their websites disappeared. Amazon was in danger too. Its stock price fell by more than 90%. Some experts said Amazon would be the next to die. Newspapers wrote headlines like, "Amazon.toast," meaning Amazon was finished. Inside the company, things were tense. Workers worried about losing their jobs. Investors demanded answers. Jeff Bezos had to act quickly. First, he made tough decisions. He reduced costs, closed some projects, and focused on the core business, selling books, music, and videos. He told his team, "We will survive if we stay focused on the customer. Everything else is secondary." Second, he worked harder than ever. Jeff was famous for his energy. He could spend hours in meetings, asking tough questions, thinking about details, and then jumping into new ideas. He pushed his team, sometimes too hard, but he also inspired them. He said, "It's always day one." This gave people hope. Amazon also made a smart move. It started a program called Amazon Marketplace. This allowed third-party sellers, small businesses, even individuals, to sell their products on Amazon's website. Customers could now find new books, used books, and many other items. Amazon earned a small fee from each sale. This was revolutionary. Suddenly, Amazon was not just a store. It became a platform, a place where anyone could sell. At first, many people laughed at Marketplace. They thought it was risky to allow other sellers on Amazon's site. Wouldn't customers get confused? Wouldn't it hurt Amazon's own sales? But Jeff believed it was the right step. He thought, if we give customers more choice, they will come back. If we help sellers succeed, we will succeed too. Slowly, Amazon survived the storm. While many internet companies disappeared, Amazon stayed alive. By 2002, it was still standing, though smaller and weaker. But survival itself was a victory. Still, there were other problems. Amazon's warehouses were huge and expensive. Sometimes, workers had to run across the building to find a book or a CD. Mistakes happened, boxes were lost. Orders were delayed. Jeff knew logistics, the science of moving products, was the heart of Amazon. So he invested heavily in technology to track orders, manage inventory, and improve shipping. He also started offering fast delivery. Amazon introduced the idea of free shipping for orders over a certain amount. Customers loved it. They felt they were saving money, even if the products were the same price as in stores. Another emotional challenge was criticism. Not everyone loved Amazon. Some publishers complained that Amazon was too powerful. Some bookstore owners said Amazon was destroying small businesses. Journalists asked if Jeff was too ambitious. But Jeff kept calm. He often said, "In the end, we are judged by the customer, not by competitors." During this period, Jeff also faced pressure in his personal life. He worked long hours, often late into the night. His family supported him, but the stress was real. Leading a company through crisis is never easy. By 2003, Amazon finally reported its first profit. It was small, only a few $1,000,000, but it was proof that the company could survive and grow. For Jeff, it was a moment of relief. He had taken big risks, and now they were starting to pay off. The survival of Amazon after the dot-com crash was a turning point. Many companies had disappeared, but Amazon had learned important lessons. Focus on the customer. Be ready to adapt. Think long-term, not short-term. These lessons became part of Amazon's culture. Jeff often said, "We are willing to be misunderstood for a long time." He meant that Amazon's ideas might look strange at first, but in the end, they would make sense. Amazon had faced its first big test and survived. The company was no longer just an online bookstore. It was becoming something much bigger. The next step would be even more ambitious. Jeff was ready to move Amazon beyond books, music, and videos. He wanted to sell everything. And that bold decision would change Amazon forever. After surviving the dot-com crash, Amazon was alive but still small compared to traditional stores. It had started with books, then added music and videos. But Jeff Bezos had a bigger dream. He wanted Amazon to be a place where you could buy anything. This was not an easy dream. Selling books was one thing. Books are simple, standard, and easy to ship. But selling many different products meant solving new problems. How do you store them? How do you ship them safely? How do you keep customers happy when the product is not always perfect? Jeff believed it was possible. His motto was, "Get big fast." He thought Amazon must grow quickly to stay ahead of competitors. If they moved slowly, bigger companies would catch up and take the market. So, in the early 2000s, Amazon began adding new categories. First came electronics, things like cameras, phones, and computers. Customers loved this because electronics were often cheaper online than in physical stores. Then came toys, kitchen products, clothes, and shoes. Every year, Amazon added more and more items. Jeff wanted Amazon to become the everything store. This idea excited many people but also scared others. Competitors worried. Publishers, toy companies, and even fashion brands began to see Amazon not just as a partner, but also as a rival. To make all this possible, Amazon had to build better systems. Warehouses became larger and smarter. Instead of workers running around searching for items, Amazon created barcodes and scanners to track products. Computers told workers exactly where to go and what to pick. Later, Amazon even used robots to move shelves around. Delivery was also improved. Customers wanted their orders quickly. Amazon worked with shipping companies like UPS and FedEx, but sometimes the deliveries were too slow. So Amazon built its own network of warehouses close to big cities. This reduced the distance between products and customers. One of the biggest innovations was Amazon Prime, launched in 2005. For a yearly fee, customers could get unlimited 2-day shipping. At first, many people thought it was a crazy idea. Shipping is expensive, how could Amazon afford it? But Jeff believed Prime would make customers loyal. If people paid for membership, they would choose Amazon again and again. He was right. Prime became a huge success. Millions of people signed up, and they began buying more products than ever before. Amazon was also famous for its recommendation system. When you visited the website, you saw suggestions. Customers who bought this item also bought. This was not random. Amazon used data and algorithms to study shopping behavior. It showed people things they might like, making it easier to shop and harder to leave the website. Some people loved this because it felt personal. Others worried about privacy. They asked, "Does Amazon know too much about us?" But most customers enjoyed the convenience and continued shopping. During this period, Amazon also faced strong emotions from the public. On one side, customers loved the company. They felt Amazon was making life easier, cheaper, and more exciting. On the other side, competitors feared Amazon's power. Small bookstores closed. Toy stores complained. Electronics shops lost customers. Some people began to call Amazon a giant that destroyed traditional shops. Jeff Bezos listened but did not stop. He believed Amazon was creating the future. He once said, "Your margin is my opportunity." This meant that if another company made big profits, Amazon would enter the market, cut prices, and win customers. Many business leaders found this statement frightening, but Jeff was determined. Amazon also expanded internationally. It opened websites in the United Kingdom, Germany, Japan, and other countries. Each market was different. In some places, customers preferred cash instead of credit cards. In others, delivery systems were weak. Amazon had to learn and adapt. But slowly, it built a global presence. Another turning point came with Kindle, Amazon's e-reader, launched in 2007. For years, Jeff had dreamed of selling digital books. He imagined a small device that could hold thousands of titles and allow readers to buy books instantly. The Kindle made this dream real. At first, publishers were worried. Would digital books destroy printed books? Would authors lose money? But customers loved the idea. They could carry an entire library in their hands. Kindle sales grew quickly, and Amazon became the leader in ebooks. The launch of Kindle showed that Amazon was not only a store. It was also a technology company. It could invent products, not just sell them. This surprised many people and made Amazon even more powerful. Still, success came with pressure. Workers in warehouses complained about long hours and tough conditions. Unions criticized Amazon for treating employees like machines. Jeff answered that Amazon was trying to improve and give good jobs, but the debate continued. By the late 2000s, Amazon was no longer just a bookstore. It was a giant marketplace, selling almost everything. Customers could find books, electronics, clothes, shoes, kitchenware, beauty products, and more. They could also buy digital goods like music, movies, and ebooks. But Jeff Bezos was not finished. He told his team to think bigger. He asked, "What else can we invent? How else can we serve customers?" This question led Amazon into new areas: technology, cloud services, and even artificial intelligence. The dream of becoming the everything store was only the beginning. The next chapter of Amazon's journey would show how the company turned from a simple online retailer into one of the most powerful technology companies in the world. Amazon was already famous as the everything store. It sold books, clothes, electronics, toys, and almost anything a person could imagine. But Jeff Bezos wanted Amazon to be more than just a marketplace. He wanted Amazon to be a technology company, a place where new inventions would shape the future. One of Amazon's most important innovations was cloud computing. Around 2003, Amazon faced a big problem. Its website needed huge amounts of computer power to handle millions of customers. On busy shopping days, Amazon's servers worked at full speed. But on quiet days, much of this power was wasted. Jeff asked his engineers, "What if we build a system that allows other companies to use our extra computer power?" This idea became Amazon Web Services, AWS, launched in 2006. At first, many people did not understand it. Why would Amazon, an online store, sell computer services? But AWS was revolutionary. Instead of buying expensive servers, companies could now rent storage, databases, and computing power from Amazon. They paid only for what they used, just like electricity or water. Startups loved AWS because it was cheap and flexible. Big companies loved it because it was reliable and fast. Slowly, AWS grew into one of Amazon's most profitable businesses. It powered websites, apps, and services all over the world. Many people did not realize it, but when they used apps like Netflix, Spotify, or Airbnb, they were often using Amazon's cloud in the background. Another area of innovation was artificial intelligence and voice technology. In 2014, Amazon introduced Alexa and the Echo Smart speaker. Alexa was a voice assistant that could answer questions, play music, check the weather, and even control lights in your home. Customers could simply say, "Alexa, what's the weather?" and Alexa would reply. At first, people laughed. Some said, "Who wants to talk to a machine?" But millions of families bought Alexa devices. They found it useful and fun. Children asked Alexa to tell jokes. Adults asked Alexa to set timers for cooking. Over time, Alexa became part of daily life. Technology also helped Amazon improve its warehouses. In 2012, Amazon bought a robotics company called Kiva Systems. These robots could carry shelves of products and move them to human workers. This made warehouses faster and more efficient. Instead of workers walking long distances, the robots brought the products directly to them. This saved time, reduced mistakes, and made it possible to handle millions of orders more quickly. Jeff also dreamed of new ways to deliver products. He spoke about drones, small flying machines that could carry packages to customers' doors in less than 30 minutes. The idea sounded like science fiction. Some people laughed, others worried about safety. But Jeff was serious. He wanted Amazon to be the fastest delivery service in the world. Another bold project was Amazon Go, a store without cashiers. Customers could walk in, take items from the shelves, and walk out without waiting in line. Cameras and sensors tracked what they bought, and the payment happened automatically through the Amazon app. When the first Amazon Go store opened in Seattle in 2018, people were amazed. It felt like stepping into the future. Amazon also invested in entertainment. With Amazon Prime Video, the company began producing movies and TV shows. Some of them even won awards. Amazon was no longer only a store or a tech company, it was also part of Hollywood. Each of these innovations showed Jeff's style of leadership. He often said, "We are willing to invent." And if you want to invent, you have to be willing to fail. Amazon launched many projects that did not work. For example, the Fire phone in 2014 was a disaster. Customers did not like it, and Amazon lost millions of dollars. But Jeff was not embarrassed. He said failures were necessary. Without risk, there could be no success. Another important principle was long-term thinking. Many companies focus on profits every 3 months. Jeff focused on the next 10 or even 20 years. He told investors, "We are building something that will last." Some people criticized him for this, but over time, Amazon's success proved his vision was right. Technology also brought emotional reactions. Customers loved faster shipping, Alexa, and Prime Video. But critics worried about privacy, job loss, and Amazon's growing power. If robots replaced workers, what would happen to jobs? If Alexa listened all the time, was it recording private conversations? These questions became part of the public debate. Through all this, Jeff Bezos stayed focused. He said Amazon's mission was simple, to be Earth's most customer-centric company. He wanted technology to make life easier, faster, and more enjoyable for customers. By the 2010s, Amazon was no longer just a retailer. It was a global leader in technology, cloud services, robotics, entertainment, and artificial intelligence. It was shaping not just shopping, but also how people lived, worked, and connected. And yet, Jeff believed this was still only the beginning. He often repeated his famous words, "It's still day one." The journey of innovation was far from over. Amazon would continue to face new opportunities and new criticism as it expanded around the world. By the 2010s, Amazon had grown from a small garage business into one of the most powerful companies on earth. It was no longer just an online bookstore. It had become a global marketplace, a technology company, a producer of movies and shows, and a leader in cloud computing. But with great growth came great challenges. Amazon's expansion around the world brought both excitement and criticism. Amazon opened websites in countries across Europe, Asia, and South America. In each country, it faced different cultures, shopping habits, and laws. In Germany, Amazon became the largest online retailer. Germans loved Amazon's efficiency, but workers often went on strike, asking for better wages and conditions. In India, Amazon faced strong local competitors like Flipkart. To succeed, Amazon invested billions of dollars, built warehouses, and adapted to local needs, for example, by accepting cash on delivery, since many people did not use credit cards. In China, Amazon struggled. The local giant Alibaba was already too strong. Amazon never became number one there, showing that even the global giant could fail in some markets. Still, Amazon became a truly international company. Millions of customers around the world used it daily, not just to shop but also to watch movies, read books, and use cloud services. Amazon Prime played a huge role in global expansion. With Prime, customers in many countries enjoyed free and fast delivery, as well as access to movies, music, and special deals. Prime became like a club, making customers feel part of something exclusive. By the late 2010s, more than 150 million people worldwide were Prime members. For many of them, Amazon was not just a store, it was part of everyday life. But as Amazon grew, criticism also grew louder. Some people loved Amazon because it was cheap, fast, and convenient. Others feared its power. Traditional bookstores, toy shops, and electronics stores often could not compete with Amazon's low prices and wide selection. Many small shops closed, and critics said Amazon was destroying local businesses. Jeff Bezos argued that change was natural and that customers always decided with their wallets. But for many families who lost their stores, this change was painful. Reports from Amazon warehouses painted a difficult picture. Workers described long hours, strict rules, and little rest. Some said they felt like robots. Investigations in the US, Europe, and Asia led to protests and strikes. Amazon replied that it offered good wages, health benefits, and career opportunities, but the debate continued. Amazon was also criticized for paying very little tax in some countries. Governments asked, how can one of the richest companies in the world pay so little? Amazon said it followed the law, but many people thought it was unfair. Some experts warned that Amazon was becoming too powerful. If one company controls too much of shopping, cloud computing, and digital media, is that safe for society? Should governments regulate Amazon more strictly? These questions became part of political debates in the United States and Europe. Devices like Alexa made life easier, but they also raised privacy concerns. People asked, is Alexa listening to us all the time? Amazon explained that Alexa only listened after hearing the word Alexa, but trust was sometimes fragile. As Amazon grew, so did public attention on Jeff Bezos. He became the richest man in the world, with a fortune of more than $100 billion. Some admired him as a visionary who built a global empire. Others criticized him for becoming too rich while workers struggled. Bezos tried to balance his image. He spoke about long-term vision, space exploration, and customer obsession. But he also faced personal challenges. In 2019, he divorced his wife Mackenzie after 25 years of marriage. The divorce became a global news story, and Mackenzie became one of the richest women in the world. Despite all this, Bezos kept focusing on Amazon. He reminded people of his core philosophy, focus on the customer, and everything else will follow. In 2020, the COVID-19 pandemic changed the world. Shops closed, people stayed home, and online shopping became essential. For many families, Amazon was a lifeline. They ordered food, masks, cleaning products, and entertainment from the website. Amazon's sales exploded during this time. Its profits reached record highs. But the pandemic also brought more criticism. Workers in warehouses said they faced dangerous conditions without enough protection. Activists demanded better safety measures. Amazon responded by increasing pay, hiring thousands of new workers, and adding health rules. Still, debates continued. By the 2020s, Amazon had become a giant with two faces. To customers, it was a miracle of convenience. One click, and anything you wanted could arrive at your door in a day or two. To critics, it was a symbol of inequality and power, a company that changed economies but created new problems. Jeff Bezos himself described Amazon as a company that always takes risks and experiments. He said, if you want to be inventive, you must be willing to fail. Amazon had both successes, like AWS, Prime, and Kindle, and failures, like the Fire phone. But the successes were so big that they changed industries forever. In 2021, Jeff Bezos made a surprising announcement. He would step down as Amazon's CEO. After more than 25 years, he said it was time to hand over the daily leadership to Andy Jassy, the head of AWS. Bezos explained that he wanted to focus on other projects, including Blue Origin, his space company. This marked the end of an era. The man who started Amazon in a small garage was stepping aside. But his influence remained everywhere in the company's culture, technology, and vision. Amazon's global expansion showed both the power and the danger of innovation. It brought opportunities for millions of customers and sellers, but it also raised big questions about fairness, jobs, and the future of work. And the story was not over. Amazon was still growing, still experimenting, still changing the world. Amazon's story is not only about one company, it is about how technology, vision, and determination can transform the world. By the time Jeff Bezos stepped down as CEO in 2021, Amazon had already become part of modern history. But what exactly is Amazon's legacy? What will people remember about it in the years to come? Before Amazon, shopping meant going to a store, walking down aisles, and waiting in line at the counter. After Amazon, shopping became something you could do with a click, sitting on your couch. This change was revolutionary. It gave customers freedom, convenience, and variety. A book, a pair of shoes, or even groceries could arrive at your door in just a day. For many people, this felt magical. But this change also had consequences. Small local shops lost customers. Many could not compete with Amazon's low prices and fast delivery. Some towns saw their independent bookstores and toy shops close forever. For better or worse, Amazon changed shopping culture permanently. Amazon started with books, and it never forgot them. The Kindle, launched in 2007, made ebooks popular all around the world. Suddenly, you could carry an entire library in your bag. For students, travelers, and book lovers, this was a dream come true. Kindle also gave opportunities to new writers. Self-publishing became possible, and thousands of authors could share their stories without traditional publishers. This democratized literature, making reading and writing more open to everyone. At the same time, many traditional publishers and bookstores struggled. The industry had to adapt, and some argued that Amazon had too much power over the book market. Still, Amazon's influence on reading cannot be denied. It made books more accessible than ever before in human history. Amazon was not only a store. With Amazon Web Services, AWS, it became a technology leader. Many websites, apps, and companies you use every day run on AWS, even competitors of Amazon. Netflix, Airbnb, Spotify, and even governments depend on Amazon's cloud. This invisible infrastructure changed the internet. It showed that Amazon was not just about selling goods but also about providing the backbone of the digital age. Alexa and Echo devices also changed homes. Voice assistants became common, helping people play music, check the weather, or control lights with just a few words. While some worried about privacy, others enjoyed the comfort. Amazon proved that innovation could come from unexpected places, and it shaped the future of technology. Amazon's success story became an example for entrepreneurs worldwide. Jeff Bezos showed that starting small, with courage, vision, and persistence, could lead to something enormous. The company also popularized the idea of customer obsession. Bezos always said, "Start with the customer and work backwards." This philosophy influenced other companies, from small startups to large corporations. But Amazon also raised debates about the future of work. Its warehouses became symbols of efficiency, but also of strict control. Some admired Amazon's ability to deliver millions of packages so quickly. Others criticized the pressure on workers and the loss of traditional jobs. Amazon's legacy is therefore double-edged. It inspired innovation but also made society question what fair work should look like in the 21st century. In history, there were industrial giants like Ford and General Electric. In the digital age, Amazon joined Apple, Google, and Facebook as one of the big tech companies. These companies hold enormous influence over daily life, governments, and global economies. Amazon's rise showed how quickly a new kind of giant could grow. In just 25 years, it went from a garage startup to a trillion-dollar empire. For future generations, Amazon will be remembered as one of the forces that shaped the digital revolution. Jeff Bezos always thought long-term. While running Amazon, he also dreamed of space. With his company Blue Origin, he invested billions of dollars to develop rockets and space technology. His vision was bold. He believed humans should live and work in space to protect Earth. He once said, "We need to move heavy industry off Earth and keep Earth as a beautiful place to live." Some admired this dream, comparing him to great explorers. Others criticized him for spending billions on space while workers and ordinary people faced struggles on Earth. Still, Bezos's legacy is tied to both Amazon and his vision of the future among the stars. At its heart, the Amazon story is about possibility. It shows how one idea, a bookstore on the internet, can grow into something that touches almost every part of life. It shows how technology can empower people, connect nations, and create new industries. But it also reminds us that power must be balanced with responsibility. For learners of English and for students of history, Amazon is more than a company. It is a lesson about ambition, change, and the impact of human choices. As of the 2020s, Amazon is still growing. It explores new areas like artificial intelligence, healthcare, grocery delivery, and even cashierless stores. Its new leader, Andy Jassy, continues Bezos's philosophy of invention and risk-taking. The future is uncertain, but one thing is clear. Amazon will remain a major player in the world economy. Its story is far from finished. The legacy of Amazon can be described in a few powerful words: innovation, disruption, and transformation. Innovation, because it constantly created new ideas and technologies. Disruption, because it changed industries forever, from books to shopping to cloud computing. Transformation, because it reshaped how people live, work, and connect. From a garage in Seattle to a global empire, Amazon's journey is one of the most remarkable stories of modern times. Whether you admire it, criticize it, or feel both, there is no denying its impact. And as long as people shop, read, and dream of the future, the story of Amazon will continue. Thank you for listening to the real story of Amazon, from garage to global giant. We followed the journey of Jeff Bezos and Amazon, from a small garage in Seattle to one of the most powerful companies in the world. Along the way, we learned how Amazon changed shopping, technology, and business forever. Stories like this help you practice English listening, improve vocabulary, and understand real-life expressions. Remember, learning English step by step, with long and clear stories, will make you more confident and fluent. If you enjoyed this story, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more long English stories. Your support helps us bring more free lessons and inspiring stories every week. Thank you again, and see you in the next video.